We've all thought about it at one time or another. Is there another world out there? Could there be life in other galaxies? Some of us might even go a step further with these theories, claiming that we are merely living in a simulation. Perhaps we're even being monitored from afar by another group of beings. The ideas are endless, much like our universe itself. The research being carried out by the scientific community into finding out what really lies beyond our Milky Way galaxy has yet to throw up any definitive answers. But that hasn't stopped researchers from putting forward their own theories. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 scientific theories regarding our universe. Beyond the black hole. Black holes are regions in space where gravity is so strong that nothing can escape, not even light or electromagnetic radiation. This happens when matter is squeezed into a tiny space, like during a supernova explosion. Supernova explosions are when red giant stars, stars bigger than our sun, undergo a core collapse. Black holes can be unimaginably big, or really tiny. One of the biggest black holes is over 40 billion times the mass of our sun. Before Stephen Hawking's discovery of Hawking radiation, physicists believed that black holes only sucked things in. However, Hawking's discovery proved that they also emit radiation. We can't actually see black holes. They're invisible and can only be inferred by detecting the effect they have on other matter in space. For example, a star being drawn in and consumed by a black hole. The edge of a black hole is known as an event horizon. The question people want answered is this: what is beyond that event horizon, inside a black hole? Some believe that venturing through and beyond a black hole will lead to the discovery of other life, perhaps even another civilization or some other Hollywood-esque dimension. Inside a black hole, there is something called a singularity. This is basically a one-dimensional point that holds a large amount of matter in a very small space. To make this sciencey description seem a bit more exciting, a singularity is also the place in which the space-time continuum extends into infinity. In terms of the theories surrounding the other side of the black hole debate, some scientists have looked into the idea that black holes could be something called wormholes. This, in essence, would make a black hole a portal to another universe or dimension. Other scientists believe that black holes may lead to white holes, which are on the other side of the space-time continuum. Matter cannot enter into white holes, but it can leave. In this case, wormholes could simply be connecting the 2 types of hole. This would mean that theoretically, if something survived the initial crush of a black hole, it could then be spat out, so to speak, by a white hole into another dimension. Some also believe that wormholes and white holes could make it possible to travel distances extremely fast, almost like a natural teleportation device. However, wormholes are thought to be absolutely minuscule, as well as emitters of large amounts of radiation. On the other hand, theorists believe that a black hole could potentially act as a barrier, or even a guard, to other life forms entering our Milky Way galaxy and making their way to planet Earth. The only problem is, there is absolutely no viable way of ever getting near a black hole and surviving. The multiverse theory. The multiverse is described as a hypothetical group of multiple universes. Together, these universes comprise everything that exists, the entirety of space, time, matter, energy, information, and the physical laws and constants that describe them. That's the scientific description. Whilst the multiverse theory may be a little hard to grasp, in terms of its sheer size, both figuratively and physically, multiple ideas have been proposed about what a multiverse may mean for us on Earth, and maybe not just us, and not just on Earth. The theories that establish the idea of the multiverse are well grounded, in terms of the physics behind them. The thing about the multiverse that fascinates enthusiasts is that the theory hints at the possibilities of other Earths out there, millions of miles away. So what would these worlds be like? Well, some scientists believe they would be potentially identical clones of our own. And yes, that would mean there is more than one of you somewhere out there. Others believe that these worlds may be similar in terms of the people and places on them, but different in terms of the chains of events that happen there. For example, Churchill, Tesla, Roosevelt, and Stalin may have existed in another world, but Germany may have won World War II. Some believe that if space and the universe itself is genuinely infinite, then there could potentially be an identical copy of each of us on another planet. Basically, if you ventured into another universe, you would eventually run into yourself somewhere along the line, as all your decisions are mirrored. The existence of other people's possible worlds could even explain principles such as probability and hypothetical statements. Due to something called the mathematic democracy principle, physicists think that any universe that is mathematically possible has an equally possible chance of existing. However, it is thought that mathematical principles and the laws of physics in these alternate universes may differ from the ones on our planet. Some scientists even think that trying to seriously investigate the idea of parallel universes would discredit science and cause the profession to lose esteem amongst the public. Many even argue that the multiverse is more of a philosophical theory than a scientific one. However, the thought of a multiverse is really quite exciting. The fact that we don't know it exists allows us to dream that it may exist, which fuels these theories beyond the realms of logical science. Is time travel possible? This question has to be up there with why we are here and is there a God? If time travel is possible, then who on earth wouldn't want to try it out? In theory, we are all traveling in time, just not in the way that you or I would think of it. As humans, we are traveling at 1 second per second. So yes, we are traveling in time. The thing is, we want to travel faster than 1 second per second, and that is what we think of as time travel. There are actually discrepancies between time at altitude and on Earth, due to the difference in gravity. An aeroplane traveling in the air will actually experience time around a second slower than you will standing on Earth. This principle also applies to the way GPS works. According to a leading time travel researcher, William A. Hiscock, a professor of physics at Montana State University, traveling into the future is definitely possible, but there is a big maybe hanging over traveling into the past. The way in which time travel would theoretically work is by using something called the time dilation effect of special relativity. This tells us that a clock appears to tick slower the closer it gets to the speed of light. Hiscock further explains how if you were to board a space rocket and accelerate continuously at 1g, which is the acceleration that would produce a force equal to the gravity at the Earth's surface, you would reach near the speed of light in around a year. If you then continued to accelerate to the speed of light, the time dilation effect of special relativity would come into play and time would slow down on board the ship. With these factors in place, a round trip to the center of our galaxy and back to Earth would take around 40 years in Earth time. However, due to the center of the galaxy being 60,000 light years away, 60,000 years would have passed on Earth, and hence you would have time traveled. This also happens to astronauts if they have a twin sibling. If this were true for somebody who had traveled to space, they'd actually return so slightly younger than their twin. Now, even though all this is actually possible in terms of physics, the engineering practicality of it all is not practical at all, which is why it's unlikely we'll be time traveling anytime soon. In terms of going back in time, things get a little bit more complicated. Wormholes is one of the ways that we could explore the past. However, you can't simply find a wormhole and step through it, which again presents a problem. Stephen Hawking proposed a theory called chronology projection conjecture, which essentially is a sciencey way of saying that nature does not want us to go back in time. In other words, the past does not want to be changed. There's lots of loose ends when it comes to our understanding of space and how we can make our wildest fantasies into things that are a lot more real than a Hollywood blockbuster. Sadly, we aren't quite at that level of understanding yet. But as time goes on, science will only further develop, and we may be closer or further than we think from these answers. But what do you make of these interesting theories? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.